You are God, and I'll prove it to you in this video. Hello, my people. Welcome once again to my YouTube channel. In this video, if you stay until the end, I'll show you why I always say that I am God. But not just me, you are also God. But first, I want to clarify that my intention is not to distance you from God. Quite the opposite. What I want is for you to realize that it's impossible to be separate from God. But we don't understand this because we don't even know what God is. I also don't want you to think that I'm an atheist or that I'm satanic or anything like that. On the contrary, quite the opposite. I want you to experience God because God is only experienced, He is expressed. When people ask me if I believe in God, I always say, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in God because belief implies doubt. I live in God and God lives in me. Believing is only for people who don't know God. I believe in God. Maybe, yes, maybe no. I don't know. I don't believe in God. I live in God and God lives in me. To be able to integrate this, we must understand what God is. God is not an old man sitting in the clouds. God is not a person. God is a consciousness, a super mega thought that encompasses everything. But thought has no form. Thought cannot be seen. Thought has no limits. Consciousness has no limits. It has no form. It's not 1 meter, 2 meters. It's not a man. It's not a woman. It's not tall. It's not thin. It's not fat. It's not round. It's not square. It is abstract and encompasses everything. We all know that God is omnipresent. I'm going to explain to you what this means. Omnipresent means that He is everywhere. This omnipresence of God is what has made it so that no one has seen God. Why? Because He is omnipresent. What does it mean? That He is everywhere. You can't find God anywhere because God is everywhere. Because God is unlimited. If God were not omnipresent, we could see Him. We would say, He's there. Like I am here. I am not omnipresent. I am limited. God is unlimited. He has no beginning or end. He has no form. He is not a man. He is an unlimited, omnipresent consciousness that is in everything, that has no form. This omnipresence of God is what makes it seem like He doesn't exist. But I have found an analogy that is very easy to understand that I'm going to share with you right now. In my self-analysis, in my self-search to find what God is, I began to analyze how I can understand what God is, how I can even explain what God is. And I understood that in this world, there was something that is omnipresent just like God. And that is air or oxygen, for example. Air is expanded everywhere. Air is omnipresent. Let me ask you something. Can you see the air there? Can you say, there goes the air. Look at it, look at it, look at it, look at it. There it goes, there it is. No, right? Because air is not limited, it's omnipresent, it's expanded, it's everywhere. There are air particles everywhere. That's why we don't see it, but we feel it, right? So I understood that God was something like that, like air. It's expanded everywhere, it's omnipresent. This is the reason why we haven't seen God. This is the reason why I don't see the air. It's not there. It's not in that corner. It's not in that nook. It's not fat. It's not thin. It's not tall. Air isn't 3 feet palm. It's omnipresent. It's expanded. So I said, how could I? How could I experience air without it being omnipresent? Limiting it. And how can I limit the air? Does air have limits? Does air start here and end here? No, right? Because it's omnipresent. In order for me to experience air, I have to limit it, set limits on it. That is a beginning and an end. The way I thought of putting a limit on air to understand what God was in the following way. A balloon, if I inflate a balloon, inside I have a fraction, a portion of air. Now I can say, there is the air. But when I limit it, that air takes on a shape, so it becomes something. That's why God is not something or someone, because He has no shape. But now this air creates an illusion. It apparently stops being air to start being a balloon. It's no longer omnipresent air, now it's a limited balloon. If this balloon had consciousness, what does this mean? If this balloon were self-aware, if this balloon knew it was a balloon, it would analyze itself, it would look in a mirror, and it would say, I can't be the Earbod. Why? Because my reasoning shows me in the mirror, when I see myself, that I'm a red and round balloon, and that I have a dimensional diameter, and that I had a beginning, and therefore I'll have an end. I'm limited. I'm not omnipresent because I'm here and I'm not everywhere. Even if the balloon believes this, what does the balloon contain inside? Air, right? But not only this, what surrounds the balloon everywhere? Air. Therefore, even if the balloon thinks it's a balloon and not air, it cannot escape the omnipresence of air. Air surrounds it, and air integrates it too. There's air inside and there's air outside. If the balloon wanted to escape the air, could it do it? No. Even if the balloon thinks it's a balloon, it'll always be the air inside and the air surrounding it. But not only this, if we also add another balloon, I have a red balloon and a yellow balloon, and both of them contain air inside. If these two balloons had consciousness and spoke to each other, he would say, I am not a red balloon because I am a yellow balloon. And this one would say, I am not a yellow balloon because I am a red balloon. Then, between them, a mental illusion of being separate from each other would be created. They acquire an apparent individuality. This is what we know in the world of spirituality as ego. The apparent individuality due to the belief of being separate from each other. But not only the belief of being separate from each other, but the belief of being separate from the God that we are. In other words, in this case, the air. As long as they are here limited in this balloon, they're going to experience themselves as apparently separate from God. But I understood, thanks to Jesus, that being separate from God is impossible. The only thing that is possible is to believe we are separate. This balloon, even if it thinks it's a balloon, it's simply that, a belief. It thinks it's a balloon. But it always was, is, and will be the God air. Why? If I do this, and I do this, where does what was inside the red balloon and the yellow balloon go? It merges with the whole. How would the red balloon now know it's the red one and the yellow balloon know it's the yellow balloon? If there is no longer anything to separate them, if there are no longer limits to separate them, that idea, that consciousness that I am the red balloon and the consciousness that I am the yellow balloon would disappear. And in the end, we would all be one single God air. It was only an illusion. Our physical body is as if it were the rubber of the balloon. It's what makes us experience being enclosed or limited in a fraction. But I am not only this body, I am the consciousness, the psyche that is inside this body. We are thought beings that are within a limit. If I take my thought being from my body and yours from yours, what separates us? Nothing. We'd have no limit. We'd be one single thought being one single consciousness. That single consciousness is called spirit, God's consciousness. So we are God. We've always been God. We just believed we were separate. But being separate from God is impossible. Believing it is possible, but it's only that, a belief. I don't believe in God. I live God, and God lives in me. So, my people, share this video. Let's make this video viral so more people, especially those in religious beliefs that make them feel separate from God, realize they've always been God, and it's impossible to be separate from God, okay? Let's share this video. Let's make it go viral. And if you liked it, comment what you think. Like, subscribe, it would help me grow a lot, and I remind you, I have a book on Amazon called The Awakening by Awakening with Eric, and I'll leave the purchase link in the description or comments. And I also want to tell you that I have a community on School where I give live classes for a small monthly fee, plus you can access all my courses and recorded classes. Okay, my people, I love you very much, and I'll see you next time.